The Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has made a dramatic call for new presidential and parliamentary elections at the earliest possible date.
In a major policy speech in Ramallah, the president blamed Hamas for the current crisis in the Palestinian territories. He said a new national unity government is the only way to end the standoff between the two sides.
But already Hamas has rejected the call. Speaking to Al-Jazeera, the Palestinian Foreign Minister Mahmoud al-Zahar said Abbas was not speaking the truth, and he called upon Hamas supporters to boycott the poll. John Terrett reports.
A Palestinian president under pressure. Mahmoud Abbas came to the presidential compound in Ramallah knowing his territory is teetering on the brink of self-destruction. His message was blunt. Hamas is causing the violence, and early elections are the only way to create a unity government, the best chance of stopping it.
I have decided to call for presidential and parliamentary election, early presidential and parliamentary elections. Isn't it stipulated in the Articles of Association and the Constitution that the people is the source of origin? Let's resort to people to have their say, to act as the judge.
Reaction from Hamas was swift, the foreign minister accusing Mr. Abbas of lying and covering up his real reasons for calling early elections.
So we are not going to participate. We are not allowing any process to participate. If he is tired, he should resign. Now, by our will to change the Palestinian people and to use these aggressive behavior, aggressive methods from the Israeli and from others to bypass the result of the Palestinian elections, I think this is not the proper attitude or the proper decision.
The speech by Mahmoud Abbas came 48 hours after an alleged assassination attempt on the Hamas prime minister as he passed through the Rafah crossing on his way from Egypt to Gaza. Ismail Haniyeh was unhurt when shots were fired at his entourage late on Thursday, but his son was slightly injured and a bodyguard was killed. A violent power struggle between Fatah and Hamas has been raging since the collapse of months of talks between both sides on how to forge a unity government. The breakdown dashed Palestinian hopes of an early end to crippling Western sanctions that have meant food and medicines are in short supply, and the Palestinian Authority is too broke to pay its workers. The increasing violent power struggle has been brewing ever since Hamas won the Palestinian elections back in January and refused to budge over recognizing Israel's right to exist. Mahmoud Abbas knows time is running out for the Palestinian territories and that if Hamas and Fatah continue their bitter struggle, it will only lead to much more bloodshed. And the political consensus between the two main parties is the only chance for a better life for millions of Palestinians. John Terrett, Al Jazeera.
Well, Al Jazeera's Walid Batrawi is in Ramallah. He says Hamas's reaction to this election announcement is no surprise.
The position of Hamas is not a new one. Even before President Mahmoud Abbas made his speech and he called for elections, when everyone was speculating that he will call for early elections, Hamas said that these elections would be illegal and it's a kind of a coup against the current government. Hamas had accused President Abbas of having a coup against democracy, although President Abbas has said that democracy is not and elections and government is not a divine will. It's not God's will, but it's the will of the people, and therefore he goes back to the people to determine the future of the Palestinian government and the future of the Palestinian politics. For Hamas, the call for the early elections is rejected. For Fatah supporters and to many of the silent majority in the Palestinian street, they're waiting to see what's going to happen, although many Palestinians believe that a national unity government is better than everything. This is also the preference for Mahmoud Abbas.
So do you think this only adds then to the volatility of the situation at present?
Well, we have been hearing that Dr. Hanan Ashrawi, who had an interview with us, said that this could be looked at in different angles. It could add fuel to what's going on, the tension in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. But on the other hand, many Palestinians have been calling President Abbas to take major steps in order to improve the situation, because many Palestinians believe that the current situation leaves Palestinians nowhere. So it's we have to wait and see what would be the reaction of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank.
Walid Batrawi talking to us there from Ramallah.
Britain's Prime Minister is voicing concerns about the spiralling violence in the Middle East as he makes another push for peace in the region. Blair has met Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, who is a key player in ending the violence between the Palestinian Hamas and Fatah factions. Earlier in Ankara, Blair said the coming days are crucial for the stability of the Middle East.
The reason why both of us, Britain and Turkey, are so anxious to do everything we can to change the situation in Palestine and the relationship between Israel and Palestine is precisely because of what we've seen in the last 24 hours. And if we don't get a new sense of urgency and movement into this situation, it will continue to go backwards.
To Lebanon now, where crowds have gathered for a rally in support of the government, which is paralyzed under opposition pressure to step down. You're now seeing live pictures from Deir el-Amar, that's south of the capital, Beirut. This is a stronghold of the Druze leader Walid Jumblat. It's quite a diverse crowd there. Muslims, Christians and anti-Syrian demonstrators, many of them holding up posters of Rafiq and Saad Hariri. Rafiq Hariri was the former prime minister who was killed in 2005 in a bombing. His death has caused a wide split in the government.
A peace conference in Baghdad has brought together all religious and political factions in a bid to end the almost daily violence in the country. Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has also invited members of Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath Party, but that's created friction with some Shiite groups. Sebastian Walker reports.
Iraqi politicians from across the sectarian divide take their seats to discuss how to end the violence. For many, sessions like this are the only hope the country has left. Sunni, Shiite and Kurdish leaders sitting down in the same room to talk. The country's Shiite Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki was certainly in a conciliatory mood. He had this message for Saddamists sacked from the army.
The new Iraqi army is opening the door to former Iraqi army officers. Those who do not come back will be given pensions.
The move is Maliki's attempt to reach out to disenchanted Sunnis. Members of Sunni armed groups were also invited to the talks. But as so often in Iraq, that move complicated things. Influential Shiite leader Muqtada al-Sadr had his representatives boycott the talks because of Maliki's Sunni initiative. Iraq has rarely been further from national reconciliation, and there was little hope of a breakthrough from the man on the street.
Those who will participate in this conference should have a sense that they are Iraqis and they belong to this country. If not, there will be no use for this conference.
And while the politicians talk, the violence is never far away. Iraqi and US forces raided this North Baghdad neighborhood at dawn, killing at least one person. And the wait for a breakthrough in achieving peace and security in Iraq continues. Sebastian Walker, Al Jazeera.
Thousands of delegates from Nigeria's ruling People's Democratic Party are voting for President Olusegun Obasanjo's successor. Now, the PDP will be the party to beat in April's elections, meaning that the winner is likely to become Nigeria's next president. The former military ruler, Ibrahim Babangida, is a strong candidate for the presidency. Now, he's currently on the PDP ticket, but is likely to run as an independent if he doesn't win the ballot. Vice President Atiku Abubakar is unpopular amongst party members, but after opposing changes to the law to allow President Obasanjo to remain in power, he's popular among the public. And the man strongly tipped to win the ticket is the governor of Katsina State, Umaru Yar'Adua, a favorite with President Obasanjo. The former teacher is one of the few serving governors who's not being investigated for corruption.